So sorry about that. So we're going
Things
to get
happen.
started. So first I want everybody to go around and introduce themselves and say where you're logging in from. And then I'm going to introduce our two speakers and then we're going to get started. Thank you all for joining tonight. Some are new people. Some are my tried and true tribe. We're a tribe, right, ladies? We're a tribe. And so everybody just introduce themselves, tell them where they're calling in from, and then I'll introduce our speakers and we can get started with our session tonight. Who wants to go first? I feel like it's
I'll
one of
go
my,
first.
thank you, Donna.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Hi, everybody. I'm Donna. I'm from Long Island, New York. I'm actually a classmate of some of these ladies here. So we go back a long time. But I'm from Long Island in Medford, a little small town in Suffolk County. And I'm a part time student and part time unemployed and a part time student. And
Yeah,
I'm so excited to be here.
and I'm so excited to have you. I've known Donna since we were in elementary school.
Wow.
Yes, elementary. That's correct.
Which elementary did you guys go to? I went to Coram.
I went to Quorum.
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 And all three of
We
us
all
went
three
to
went to Quorum.
Coram.
Mhm. Yep.
Yes.
All right, who's next? Rosa, you want to go next?
All righty. Hi, I am Rosa Stone, and I am right here in Charm City, Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Dion Davidson. I am from right here in Baltimore, by way of Jamaica, Montego Bay, Jamaica. I was born and raised there, but been in the United States for about 30 years. So I don't know if Jamaica's still claiming me.
They are. They are.
Uh, I am the director and founder of Beadly Speaking Jewelry and Beadly Speaking Kids. It's a jewelry making program for children where we teach them jewelry making skills and have dialogue about topics that's relating to their spiritual and mental health and wellness. And I'm also launching a program for adults, so I will be doing classes virtually for women as well.
Wow.
Good. That sounds great.
I'm
Thank
like,
you.
so yes, it's Karen, you may be interested in talking to her with your students. That's what I love about this group. You know how many people I connect on here? It's crazy. That's why I call us a tribe. A tribe. We call from different backgrounds, but it's such a great experience to connect with women from all over because you never know who you're going to meet that's going to, lift you up or help you in some manner. So thank you for that. All right. So that somebody else just came in. Anne Marie. Are you
I,
logged in? Hi,
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Good evening.
you want to introduce yourself?
I'm just getting my video set up. Do I have to put on video? Because
No,
I'm
you do
letting.
not. That's a choice.
Oh, my spot is just like I'm all over the place. I'm I'm Anne Marie Harvey, part of this group of Lisa's Strivers, Thrivers, and Survivors. I'm in Baltimore. Been in Baltimore for over 30 something years. So I'm kind of almost a Baltimorean, right?
But by way of where? Originally from?
By way of Jamaica.
Yeah, man.
So hey, hope
Hey.
everybody's doing all right.
We are, thank God.
All
Okay,
right.
well, I'm excited. Y'all know I get excited every time I see y'all faces and hear your voices. Y'all just give me life. You really do. So I am going to, our topic for April, remember, ladies, is fitness. So I'm so excited to have that's right, two great speakers on here that's going to share their journey and talk about their journey on fitness and give us some really good practical tips on how we can either launch our fitness journey or rejuvenate our fitness journey, or just even really seriously contemplate how we're going to look at health and fitness in a different way, as part of our self-care. So first, let me introduce you and read you their bios. This lady named Kristen in the upper left, if you can see your screen, and I go way back. As you heard, we all went to elementary school together. We grew up on Long Island together. So I've known her over 40 years. And then I guess I would say in high school, we really got to know one another because we were both on the kick line for the high school. It was called Longwood Lionettes. And so Kristen and I have gone way back. We reconnected, of course, on Facebook, but we actually saw each other last summer for the first time since high school graduation, which was a pleasure. We had a breakfast at a diner in Long Island when I went out there to visit. Yeah, so it was really, really funny. So Kristen is fortunate to have a successful career in the investment industry. She's very humble. She won't tell you, but I think you're you a chief executive officer, chief operating officer. I know you got a promotion.
It means people think it's great because you're in charge of everything. It means that everything comes into your desk.
You're responsible. You got a lot of responsibility. That's okay. But it's a lot to say because, corporate world and women at that level it's very challenging. So I'm very proud of your accomplishment for being in a male dominated industry of what you're in and then being able to accelerate your career to that level. So kudos to you. So she has a very successful career in investment, but most enjoys an active, mindful lifestyle, 24 hours, 7 days a week. While not a professional in nutrition or fitness, she strives to consistently support her physical and emotional health in ways that will help her lead a long, active, and productive life. She understands the challenges we encounter as we try to stay on a healthy path and has come to believe the foundation must be built on a healthy mindset for any chance of long-term success. All right, so that's Kristen Niebuhr. My other esteemed guest is Karen Hunt Reynolds. And Karen and I met each other, I would say maybe about 2 years ago now, Karen. At our church, we worship together at Bridgeway Community Church in Owings Mills. And Karen is a proud wife of 29 years, a mother to one daughter and one bonus daughter, and a grandmother. Well, get out of here. You don't even look like a grandmother. She's been a special education educator for Baltimore County Public Schools for 23 years. She teaches high school students with autism from grades 9 to 12. Additionally, she's a mentor with the Sisters with Synergy female mentoring group at her school. She coaches allied sports, soccer, bowling, and softball, is a sophomore class advisor, tutors at a local shelter. Children have been a passion since college where her mentoring began. It's her belief that all children have gifts and talents. They just, excuse me, sorry. I was just reading her thing. What happened? Okay. Sorry, I got off my track reading. She believes all children have gifts and talents. They just may be expressed a little differently. She also enjoys cooking foods from many different cultures, baking for family and friends. And I have seen her stuff that she posted on Facebook. So that definitely is her gifting. Self-care has become a very important aspect of Karen's journey. So over the past 15 months, which I've been watching closely, she has been embarking on a fitness journey that includes good nutrition and exercise. The change in diet and fitness has resulted in a 30-pound weight loss, stress relief, and alleviation of chronic pain. Part of self-care for Karen is participating and volunteering to serve at our church, Bridgeway Community, where she gets tremendous joy from serving on the Love and Action Team, Women's Ministry, and the Women's Leadership Development Institute. Every believer has received grace gifts, so use them to serve another as faithful stewards of the many colored tapestry of God's grace, 1 Peter 4:10. I just love you ladies. I really do. You guys have like everything going on. So I'm going to start with, who wants to go first, Karen or Kristen?
I'll go.
Okay, Karen. Go ahead. Tell us.
Okay, so when Lisa asked me to do this, like Kristen, I'm not a professional. I don't have any certificates or anything in fitness or nutrition. But what happened was actually before COVID started in January of 2020, I had resolved that, not a resolution, but I had resolved that I was going to do better. I was going to get my health together, my fitness, because I was suffering from chronic pain from arthritis in my knees, to the point where, I felt like I was 99 years old. It was so painful to walk. Basic things like even, I don't want to get too graphic, but squatting to go to the bathroom was painful. And I'm taking, medication that was helping to alleviate it some, but it wasn't really doing it. So it got to a point where I was kind of depressed because I was a runner. I was running with, Black Girls Run. my orthopedic doctor was like, no more running. You can't do that. And then I physically really couldn't do it. It was hard to walk. So I just resolved that I'm going to change my diet. So I eat mainly plant-based stuff. I'm not a vegan, but I found that replacing the majority of my meals with plant-based things has tremendously helped. A reduction in the amount of sugar that I consume. And I didn't get rid of all of it, but I just reduced it because sugar attacks our cells. And I think that changing my diet and reducing the sugar, I started to notice the pain wasn't totally gone, but it was severely reduced, severely reduced. Then I got a personal trainer and we started working out a couple times a week, and then I would do things in between that she was telling me to do. And then COVID came and we couldn't personally train anymore, but she had an app, and those are the exercises that Lisa sees me post. So each day, it's a different type of different set of exercises that involve weights. And let me tell you, I hate weights. I really, really do. But over the past 15 months, I've grown to, I won't say love them, but I have, I like it a little bit better now, because once you start seeing progress in your body and in your endurance and your strength, then it encourages you to move forward and do a little bit more. So Lisa and other people have told me the videos that I post are inspiration. Really, for me, posting the videos was accountability. So when I post the videos, I'm being accountable. I'm I, I'm going to do this workout because I'm going to post and I'm going to let people know that I've done what I said I'm going to do. So it was just a nice result that people thought they were inspiring, but it was really for me to be accountable to myself so that I can keep going. So I work out normally 5 to 6 times a week. Typically I take Sunday off. And for me, working out could include the weights. It could be cardio, but some sort of movement has to happen those 5 to 6 days a week. The weights also, as my personal trainer said, as we get older, we need to really be lifting the weights. It helps with balance too. And I never really thought about that because I'm like, I don't have a problem with balance, but as you get older, you might have a problem with balance. So some of the things that she has me doing work with, maintaining that balance and so forth. So um yeah, that was basically, how. And then another thing, COVID came, and it was really a stress reliever because, during those 3 months that we were locked down and you can't go visit friends, you can't go to church, you can't do anything that you normally would do. And my husband's a truck driver. So like that first month or so that we were locked down, I was really kind of by myself. My daughter might pop in and visit, but I was really by myself. So I was like, I'm not going to be in here making myself crazy, because everything that was coming on TV was talking about deaths and the severity, and it was making me so anxious. And I didn't care what the weather was, even if it was raining. I would put on my raincoat and get an umbrella, and I would go outside and I would walk about 3 miles, because it was relieving my stress and it was keeping me sane. And that was, people like, you lost weight during COVID. I did, because I had to maintain my sanity. And I had to turn the TV off. I had to stop. I knew the severity of it. I didn't need to keep hearing about, the trailer loads of dead people, and it was y'all lived it too, so so it was partly to maintain my mental health as well. You want me to give some tips now, or?
Yes. So
Okay.
no, you know what? Let's wait. I'm gonna let you and Kristen do the tips at the same time. So thank
Okay.
you for that, Karen, for sharing that inspiring story. Yes, I watch her, and that's my exercise, watching Karen. And I was like, I gotta get out there and do it with her. I gotta do it with her. So thank you for that. So hold those tips because I'm gonna come to you and I want to see if anybody has any questions too. So I want you to come up with some concrete things that you do that will help inspire us to start to get where you are. All right, thank you. Hold on a moment. So now, Kristen, tell your journey.
So it's funny, Karen, so much of what you said resonated with me and is very parallel to kind of how it was for me. Younger, I was athletic. I wasn't really on teams. I was on track for a while. Even younger, had bad knees. And it's funny, talk about mindset. Like that was always in my head. I have bad knees, so I shouldn't run, and I shouldn't run, and I shouldn't do too much, and I shouldn't do too much. But I always stayed kind of fit, and basically until I had kids, and I was working full time and commuting into New York, and then got divorced, and then it was just me and the three kids, and it, busy, busy. And there was always a reason. Even if I would talk to fitness professionals, they say, yeah, you do have a lot going on. I get it. Um, and for some reason, my oldest daughter was taking a college class on nutrition, and they were talking about women 50 and over, how the biggest killer is heart attacks. And they said that she said, it often happens in their sleep, partly because your heart slows down naturally, but partly because women are notoriously dehydrated. We don't stop and just drink water. And if I never knew what a strain that was on your heart. It's for whatever reason, women are more likely when they're older to have this tendency towards, even if you're otherwise fit, you have a tendency towards heart attacks. We tend to often, look at her drinking her water.
And she's drinking, I'm looking for my bottle of water now. Go ahead, continue.
My herbal tea. But she said, Mommy, I'm a little worried about you. Like you're so busy and you're so stressed, and you used to exercise a lot, now you don't at all. And I've always eaten pretty well, pretty decent diet. I love vegetables, so I've been lucky for that. But she was a little worried, and I thought, and I'm like, good, I'm fine, don't worry about it. But it stuck with me, and it stuck with me, and it stuck with me. And I finally, and one of the things that's a little opposite, Karen, between you and me is I've always loved weight training. I've hated cardio, hate running, hate that panting, sweaty mess. But so I walked in, there's an Orange Theory studio. I don't know if you have them near you, but it's a particular type of class. It's high intensity interval training. And I knew what that meant was a lot of cardio. So I was walking by and they're having their, hey, you want to learn? And I said, all right. And I didn't literally, but figuratively, like walked in like this, like, I'm not going to like it, And I said, I don't think this is going to be right for me. I don't like cardio. Tell me about what it is. And they said, well, it's half cardio, but how about you do 3 classes for free? And if you still hate them at the end, you don't have to do them. I'm just telling you, you're going to learn to like cardio, blah, 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 blah. 3 years later, I go 5 or 6 times a week. So love it. Fabulous. Found my groove, whatever it was. Interestingly, but the reason I joined was I said to myself, I don't like cardio, but you know what? That's going to be part of what gets my heart healthy. Where younger, I wanted to look good. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to be strong and all those things. And it's not that those go away. It's okay to want to look good. It's not, I don't think we should be shamed for, not caring about our looks or caring about our looks. It's all part of who we are. But I really thought, my grandmother lived to 101 and a half. And I thought I had that genetic, like that's lucky, except I realized she walked every day until she was probably about 94, probably walked 2 or 3 miles a day. She was more active in her 90s than I realized I was at 50 or 51 or whatever I was at the time. So I really thought I'm doing this for myself, even if I don't think I deserve it. Let me do this for my kids. Let me do this so I can see my grandkids and enjoy them and not have trouble keeping up with them or doing things, or I'm going to sit inside while you guys go to the park or whatever. Karen, another thing, I had the story in my head about bad knees, but they did actually hurt. My hips started hurting as I got older. And I was like, well, now it's moving up. And I even went to my doctor. Am I pre-arthritic? I don't know what's going on. And she said, it could be, are you active? I'm like, and in my head, I had, well, I can't be active because my hips hurt and my knees hurt. And I'm only going to do more damage. And she said, it could be that your hips and your knees are hurting because you're inactive and your muscles aren't strong enough. And you need to work on that. Strengthen your body and just get your blood flowing even. It's not even about muscles or stamina. Get your blood flowing and moving things around. And so I kind of had a completely different take in the last 4 or 5 years on fitness than I had my whole life. And I like this one better. It's a lower pressure way of looking at it. I flipped a switch from I need to do this so that I can get to this goal. And it's more like I need to do this because I deserve this. I deserve to have this. I deserve a long life. I deserve a long life with my kids. I deserve a long life with grandchildren. I deserve a long life because I like gardening and I want to keep doing that. And, I want to be like my grandmother and walk miles and miles and miles and it'd be very independent well into her 90s. Um, so that was one big switch for me. And then, although, like I said, my diet was always pretty good, I have gotten more plant-based. I used to be a carb fanatic, pasta 5 or 6 times a week. Nothing wrong with pasta, but that was kind of all I would eat. There's, as I've been more mindful about my eating, more plant-based, more proteins, but I've learned about, and we could talk a little bit about too, and Karen, I'm sure you know even more than me, people think you can only get protein if you eat meat or eggs. There are a lot of other options too, and I usually lean towards those. I find those more digestible. Talk about, Lisa, you mentioned, I'm menopausal. I feel like I get bloated more easily and more often with the plant-based diet. I found it's just me. I think everybody, you may have different metabolisms, but it helps me. And that's helped me a lot too. So that's kind of how I've come to where I am now. But yeah, as Lisa said, she's gonna, we'll talk a little bit more about the kind of tips and tricks that keep me going when I don't feel like it. And a number of things, I'll even share things that like I tried and didn't work for me, but I still think they're worth mentioning because we all have a different way we should come at this. We all have different lives. We all have different likes and dislikes and what works for us and what doesn't. But the one thing I started to say too, Karen, is I always loved the weight training. And that is still my favorite. And there's some of that in these classes as well. So for me, this particular style of workout is good because it makes me get in the cardio I need to keep my heart healthy and strong. I get to do the weightlifting, the strength training I do that makes me feel powerful kind of as I move through my day.
Thank you for sharing that. Kristen, I like the part you talk about the heart. I don't have the statistics, but we do have a mutual friend that grew up with us that has a lot of information, Dawn, about there's a lot of women that do die from heart attacks. People think it's a middle-aged male phenomenon, but you'd be surprised how many women actually suffer from and unfortunately succumb to heart attacks and heart conditions. And so the fact that you mentioned that just brought it up to my mind about our mutual friend that talks about that a lot in her testimony. She was only in her 40s.
Pretty young. Yeah, she was in her 40s when
she was in her 40s when she had a heart attack. And so just the fact that you said we deserve it, switching it, most of the women in our group are of a certain age. And yeah, we all did that when we were young and try to be cute and getting those little outfits and, lose weight. But now we're at a point where we deserve it. It's part of self-care. Health is part of self-care. And I'm glad you both talked about the medical part of it. I suffer from arthritis too. And so my doctor said the same thing. What can you do? There's no cure for arthritis, but she has always said strengthening, yoga, stretching exercises, being active. And my dad, who died at 98 years old, his longevity, part of his Caribbean descent, I have a feeling people from the islands just live longer. It's because of the lifestyle, is because he was very active. He walked and he only ate plant-based diets and foods, and he walked a lot and rode bicycles. So yes, we live a long time from the Caribbean. So now I'd like to ask you guys to share specific tips, and then I want to get some feedback from you guys in the group, Diane, Donna, and Rosa, on your own fitness journey of what you're doing. So start with you, Karen. Give us things that you think we can help us get started.
Okay, well, the first thing I think Kristen kind of touched on too is mindset. You got to get your mind right. You got to know that you need to do this for you. And in my case, you have to have a why. My why was I needed to be healthier. I needed to figure out a way to alleviate this chronic pain. So that was, how I got my mind straight. The other thing was I needed to understand that I couldn't compare myself to other people. So, I'm looking at so-and-so over here who's lifting X amount of weight, or so-and-so who's running. And I'm like, look at them with those good knees running. This is literally what I'm saying when I'm driving. My daughter's like, you are ridiculous, Mom. I'm like, they better enjoy those good knees. But I learned not to compare myself. God allows me to walk. So I'm going to be the best walker that I can be. I'm going to, do what I can do. I'm not comparing myself to other people. Also, switch it up. So, I walked so much when the pandemic first started. I walked straight through the summer that I developed plantar fasciitis. And that was probably because I was literally in the beginning, the first few months, I was working out 7 days a week. And I needed to switch it up. So now I do about 3 days of walking. I do 2 days in the pool, and I'll do either laps or fitness activities in the pool. Bike riding when the weather's nice, switch it up. Let's do some bike riding. Just do different things. It also kind of tricks your body. Your body gets used to doing the same thing over and over and over again. And you start working different muscles when you're doing different exercises. And I feel like I have ADHD in exercise, so it gives me a chance to explore different things and do different things. Also, I found that fitness buddies are helpful. If you can find a friend or someone, might not even be a friend, it just might be someone that's interested in walking or interested in going to the pool or taking a class, even if it's virtually, and you'll become friends. Do that because they are your accountability. So when I'm walking 3 days a week, one of my friends had noticed when the pandemic started that I was walking by myself. And she's like, I want to walk. I want to walk with you. We used to run together. She's like, I want to walk. So then it became a thing with her. And then another friend was like, well, I want to walk with y'all. So now the three of us walk Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and sometimes Saturday. We also take a boot camp on Saturdays together. That's a COVID friendly outside, type of boot camp. So again, we're switching up and we're making each other accountable because there are days I don't want to. I don't want to. And I'm like, oh, but they're gonna be there. And if I say that I'm not coming, what's wrong? Like, and I don't have a good reason. So I'm like, I get up and I go. So if you can get in a buddy, a fitness buddy, it makes it so much nicer. And ironically, a couple of months ago, Sanjay Gupta came out with this book. I forget the name of it, but one of the things he said was extremely helpful was to have a walking buddy. It's actually good for your mental and your physical health to be able to have the time to talk to somebody about life, whatever it is you talk about. And when I'm walking with my friends, that's therapy for each other. That we're talking about joys, sorrows, everything. We're listening to each other. Sometimes we're just listening, sometimes it's feedback, but that's free therapy. So, and reward yourself for your accomplishments. We tend to like to beat ourselves up. Oh, I ate the wrong thing today, or I didn't exercise today. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's just one day. Get back on track. And then when you do, reward yourself for that. And when I say reward yourself, not with food, but whatever that is, it might be reading a book, it might be taking a bubble bath, it might be, meditation. For me, when one of my big rewards is to get an outfit, a fitness outfit. I like to look cute when I work out. So I'll go and, get something cute to wear. Sometimes it might be just, treating myself to a healthy meal so that I don't have to cook. So whatever your thing is, reward your even small accomplishments and don't beat yourself up about mistakes because we're human. We're going to make them and we just need to get over it, move on. And I think that's really okay. I mean, that's really it. You fall down, get back up, start again. That's it.
Wow, you gave us a lot of great tips. I'm loving this. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to reemphasize all of this stuff later, but what I summarized was What is your why? And then we talk about that a lot. Remember the goal setting? Everybody says everything we do, it comes back to why are you doing it? What is your why? So that's a reoccurring theme I've noticed in here. No comparison. I love that one. I call that the Facebook phenomenon, where you're always looking on Facebook and seeing what other people doing and comparing yourself. I love that. Switch it up, which is true, doing different things, making sure you have an accountability partner. And you don't have to do accountability face to face. You can even do it virtually. Like you could call somebody on the phone or walk with them and talk to them while you're on the phone. Reward yourself. The part I didn't like is not with the food, but that's all right. I'll get over that. And so, yeah, I love it.
Well, you can treat yourself to something healthy.
Yes, you're right. You're right, though. That's my issue. Thank you so much for that, Karen. So I'm going to put you on standby right now. Kristen, what can you add to that? What some tips and applicable tricks we can use? And then I want to hear from the rest of the ladies in the group, and I'm going to take calls or messages from the Facebook group.
So I will add some of my own tips, but I definitely want to second a couple of the ones Karen said too, is start with your why. It's exactly like I said, to me, it all became so much clearer and more important to me when I realized my why is about health, not about looking cute. That's a side effect. That'll be great if I lose weight or if I don't know, my skin glows more or whatever else it is. Those are great. But my real why was to be healthy on the inside for the people that love me. And I'm one of them, So that with the start with your why was really good. The other thing you cannot underestimate is walking. And it doesn't even have to be, it's not race walking, or I'm not, at least I don't think, Karen, that's what it has to be. And that connectivity in general forever, but especially now in the pandemic, you can walk 6 feet apart from your friends and go for a walk around your neighborhood. Even when we all had to be masked and 6 feet apart, that can be done with your friends. And we've all been so disconnected and so distant and so, potentially fearful about interacting with our friends that we forget what it's like. My friends and I locally had a book club and we used to sit in each other's living rooms. Well, until it was absolutely bitter cold, we would bundle up, sit around a fire pit and sit outside and talk about the book as far as we could. And we just had our first one last month because we couldn't wait to get back to at just even being 6 feet apart in the backyard, So it is a therapeutic thing to do. And we need that as much for our heads as we do the walking we need for our bodies. And remember too, I think that's positive reinforcement. You talk about a reward, spending time with my friends is a reward. I happen to be getting some exercise while I'm doing it. Shift your focus a little bit sometimes about it. The other thing, Karen, that you said that I love, and maybe it's because we're older and we don't give a piece of manure as much about it anymore. I only care about my workout. When I'm in a class, even when at its maximum before pre-pandemic, you can have up to 30 something, 8, 9 people in the class. Here's my workout and they have a tracker on the screen. It's my workout on my screen and it's all percentage based. So it's a percent that fits my goals. That's all it is. And you want to think about that is what am I here to do? Because I'm not built like the person next to me. I'm not the age of the person next to me. How do I know my health issues are theirs? You can't, it's debilitating to compare yourself to someone else. So definitely don't do that. I think, to get generally fit, let's say if you're starting from a place of no fitness, little activity, it's just move. If even a slow casual walk around your neighborhood, I don't know, I like to peek in people's, see if they redid their kitchen or their living room, or they planted something nice around the mailbox that I'm a little jealous of. So I'm going to go put it around maybe my garage door or something. I don't know. Tells you about it too. You can make that fun. And again, you don't have to be out there pumping your arms and sweating it out. Maybe you'll like that and get there someday, but just take a stroll. If you can't even get to that, or maybe you don't live in an area that's conducive to that, get outside and, like I like gardening. I don't have a good spot for a garden in my yard. So I bought these raised boxes that sit on my deck or they can sit on your porch. And I just putter around and play in the dirt and move around outside. I realized earlier I went outside and I had bought 6 things and little things to plant in my front walkway. I was out there about half an hour. I got 2,000 steps in. Who knew? But you don't realize how much you have to walk back and forth and back and forth and back and forth to something till you start gardening. But it's something else. You know what? I get to have flowers in the front. I get to have tomatoes out on the deck, whatever it is. So I think to me, it's about flipping the thinking on what you get to do that will help you see fitness as it's positive reinforcement. It's that thing like, oh, I get to go on a walk today because then I get to talk to my 5, 6, 3, 2, 1 friends, whatever it is. Yeah, and also, yeah, don't underestimate walking. Again, another point that Karen said. It's like you think she and I talked before, and said, let's make sure we both reinforce this. But when I did first start at Orange Theory, they have 3 levels of activity on the treadmill: power walking, jogger, or runner. I was a power walker for a year and a half, and they really empower their walkers. And not only that, they encourage you, even if you graduate to running and, going faster, every now and then try to power walk and remember how hard it is. Because with power walkers, when they want you to go harder, they raise the incline. That's where my booty started. That's where I started to feel it in my hamstrings. And I was like, I started to feel so strong when I was really hiking up a hill, on the treadmill. And I started to feel powerful just walking around in my life. So it's something that some people never leave that and are as equally fit. When I did try running, I was like having anxiety attacks, like I'm going to faint. It's not going to work. And I was like, this is not so bad. Walking got me fit. So if that's your end goal, you're in an excellent place. So I think really think about what you're going to get to do and start with just moving. Maybe it's vacuuming. Vacuum every day. Have the cleanest rug on the planet, just so you're walking around your living room, like whatever it is. But I mean, I really think one thing I've given up that I used to do is put a lot of pressure on myself. And if I didn't feel like I was good enough and didn't hit that goal, I would stop. This has me looking forward to it all the time. So it's that mind shift that I think makes you feel like I deserve this. I'm going to do it. And I only have to do a small bite. And if I don't like it, I can only do half a mile instead of a mile. And then I find I do a mile and a half because I'm just into it and have good music on or whatever. So
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
I also want to add one more thing,
Mhm.
because I think I said that in the beginning I was doing 7 days a week. Your body needs to rest, and it's okay to rest. I was so crazy in the beginning that I was doing 7 days straight, and that's why I had the plantar fasciitis and so forth. So it's okay to rest. It's okay if you only do 5 days. It's okay if you only do 3 days. I mean, whatever works for you, because your body and your muscles, they need time to recuperate.
yeah, and I think you can start to regret it or resent it if you overwork yourself.
Right.
Yeah, then there may be then you may injure yourselves too. So we are
Right.
a bit of a certain age, so we don't want any injuries. That's what happened to me, and that's what derailed me. So we have to really be careful. And also, let's put a waiver out there. If you're in a doctor's care for any medical issues, please check with your medical provider first before undertaking any type of exercise. But just get a clearance first. That's the best thing to do. Let me ask you guys quickly, and then I'm going to open it up for everybody in the group in the room to talk about your barriers. What about nutrition? Um, what are you doing nutritiously that you think people can do? Because it has to be a balance. I work out really regularly, consistently, but I tell you, I eat everything that's not nailed down, and so that's why I don't see any changes in my life. If it's
I
moving and if it's meat, protein, I'll eat it.
I love beans, legumes,
Love beans.
kidney beans. Lentils are my favorite. I make a great lentil chili, lentil kidney bean chili. It's like my daughter like devours it. She's like, this is so good. You don't even miss the meat. The lentils give you that meaty quality. I also make like a lentil, I make lentil taco meat from lentils and walnuts. Um, it's like so many things that you can make that are plant-based, that can replace the meat, that are flavorful, because a lot of times people think that when people are eating plant-based, they're eating a lot of salad. Au contraire. Salad is great, but if I had to just eat salad, I would get bored and I wouldn't stick to it. So um, I do use meat substitutes sometimes, but like Beyond Burgers, I like Beyond Burgers and Impossible Burgers, but you want to be careful with that because it's a processed food, even though it's a vegan food. And if you actually flip the label over, you'll see how much sodium it has in it, how much fat. So I try not to use those things as much. I'd rather replace them with beans. Beans are great for your heart, great for you, great source of fiber and protein. I'm a Pinterest fanatic, So when people are asking me where I got the recipes, most of the times I've gotten them from Pinterest. And if you're on Pinterest, you know that once you click on one thing, next time you'll see, it's like an addiction. It just leads you to the next thing and the next thing. I can be on Pinterest for hours. So I have all these boards for, these different types of vegan foods and just, everything. So, yeah, that when people ask me, what I eat, that's what I eat a lot of. I eat a lot of beans, and lentils, and you can fix and mushrooms. Mushrooms have a meaty texture to them. You can make a great um, pulled pork like barbecue sandwich. I've done the vegan version of beef bourguignon out of mushrooms. Delicious shepherd's pie out of mushrooms. Another fan favorite for me is spaghetti squash. So Kristen mentioned how she loves pasta, and I do too. I think, pasta is just delightful. It's great. And when I was in college, my girlfriend was like, I have never seen anybody do so much with pasta. I'm like, yeah, it's cheap and you can do a lot with pasta. But spaghetti squash, I also will use a brown rice quinoa pasta because it has more nutritional value in it. And I was getting it at Trader Joe's, but Aldi's now sells this brown rice quinoa pasta that I love. And it's a little bit cheaper there. So
That's
also
really
using,
interesting. I'm sorry, Karen, because I use a brown rice pasta that I actually get from Amazon. I have big packs of it delivered, but quinoa is a grain that has a ton of protein,
ton of
probably the
protein.
highest protein sources, right, of a lot of plant-based foods.
Hmm.
And to have that, you're right, that's just a double dose of nutrition. You probably don't even notice the difference.
Yeah, you do not notice the difference, and it's great. And also using seasonal vegetables, take advantage of using those seasonal vegetables because they're full of flavor. Use all the colors of the rainbow because this way you know that you're getting your nutrition in. And I also love smoothies. So I will have a smoothie for lunch. Spinach, put some spinach in there. My choice of fruits, I get bags of frozen fruits, dragon fruit, mangoes, pineapples, cherries, strawberries, whatever. And I just mix up all different kinds of smoothies and I love them. Sometimes I put kale in them, but most of the times I use spinach because it's such a neutral flavor and kale can be a little overpowering. But yeah, that's
Doesn't always, kale doesn't always blend that well either, I find.
yes. It doesn't blend as well as spinach does, but I like kale too. But yeah, you have to just figure out what works for you, you know.
Wanda, you had a question. Somebody had their hand raised. Do you want to question?
Oh, no, I was just going to share. I agree with the other person. I'm vegan, so I don't eat meat. I substitute meat products a lot with mushrooms. I do more fresh vegetables. I drink herbal teas, natural teas with the actual leaves. I don't do tea bags. I do actual leaves. I detox pretty often. I also take natural herbs for my system, like the vitamin D, the enzymes for the belly fat, and different things of that nature. I've gotten away from meat too because it just doesn't sit well within my body. So I feel a lot more healthier now that I don't eat the meat, and I do more juicing and I do the smoothies. I've come to learn that you can't mix fruit with vegetables when you're doing smoothies. And I've learned that you can only put certain fruits with certain fruits. So it's a lot when you're starting to change your body because you need to know about the different fruits that you're dealing with and what they go well with, as well as what your types of vegetables, what's good in season, what's good out of season. To be honest, I'm starting to eat vegetables that I would like gag at. I've come to love Brussels sprouts. I've come to love different type of vegetables that I would have never thought about eating, especially different types of mushrooms. I've taken fried oyster mushrooms and it looks like chicken
chicken. My grandchildren was even surprised. They loved it. So, but most people think when you become vegan, you're limited to eating, and you're not. Actually, the same food you ate with meat, you can prepare those same meals, but just different without meat, and you use more seasoning. Like I do collard greens. Don't use smoked meat anymore. I use the smoked liquid. It's just a matter of you being dedicated to it. And I really enjoy it. And I don't do the sugar. I don't do any dairy products. I do non-dairy products. And I notice more and more things are becoming more vegan for people. But like the other lady said, you got to be careful what you get because a lot of vegan stuff is being processed. I don't do the Beyond Meat and things anymore because it's too much being processed. I feel like if you spend $150 a week or 2 weeks on processed food, you can spend that same amount of money on fresh, healthy food.
Good point. Thank you for sharing that. Kristen, do you want to add anything else on the nutrition side? And then we're going to open it up for everybody else to talk.
Yeah, I mean, I would basically say everything Karen said. Like I said, I do still eat some meats, but I find that I'm actually trending more towards what they call the Mediterranean diet, which isn't a specific diet.
That's a good one.
But it's a lot of plant-based, a lot of healthy fats, and a lot of fish and seafood. I love fish and seafood. And so I happen to love it. So I just keep it. And, I keep a bag of frozen shrimp in the freezer, and you can even start to cook it frozen out of the bag. You don't have to wait for it to thaw because it cooks so fast anyway that it stays a little bit more tender when you cook it slowly. I'll get a bunch of frozen cod fillets or something, or halibut or something like that. And then just put them in a baking dish, slice some onions on top, maybe drizzle a little olive oil for a little moisture so they don't dry out, garlic powder, onion powder, whatever, bake them up. Now I just have a bunch of easy protein that's ready and cooked. That's one thing I would mention and recommend if you're trying to stay on a healthier plan is meal prep. While I would make dinner from time to time, from start to finish with a certain thought in mind, I more often make meal parts and have them ready to go in the fridge. So maybe I'll have brown rice with, I don't know, boneless chicken thighs, and then I'll have, I do the brown rice pasta, or make a big thing of quinoa and I mix it in with roasted veggies. Speaking about veggies and one, I think it's hilarious that you said, you now eat things that used to make you gag. I actually, for decades, hated Brussels sprouts. I have learned for me, and if any of you out there have a lot of vegetables you don't like, I highly recommend throw it on a cookie sheet with olive oil and kosher salt and roast it. Roasting does something completely different to a vegetable that makes me crave them rather than hate them. Kale chips. Just if you think you don't like kale, don't saute it, don't chop it, don't even put it in a smoothie if you don't want. But I challenge you to not like it if you put it on a cookie sheet with olive oil and salt and then roast it and you have kale chips. You'll have green stuff in your teeth forever. You eat something.
They're good. No, yeah, it is tasty. You're funny.
And then someone posted that, Anne-Marie, that you made a mushroom burger and it tasted great. Get a big those big, thick portobello mushrooms, marinate them in some Italian dressing, and then grill them. Delicious as a burger. They're so good. And my kids, I find, I made a mushroom soup that it used to be like beef barley mushrooms. And I just did the mushrooms in the barley, and they were like, "This is delicious. This is fantastic. This is great." It doesn't hurt that I threw a little red wine in there, but think of the things you can, like Karen said, everything can be just as flavorful. And Wanda, you were saying it too, just as flavorful. Try making a thing you would just make and just leave the meat out and just see what happens. Beans are very, not only healthy for you, very filling. I love chunking up butternut squash, and sometimes I go a little sweet, sometimes savory. But again, you don't want to overpower it with sugar. Try something that's maybe a more raw source of sugar, agave syrup instead.
Agave, yeah.
Yeah, I do like agave. Or even brown sugar, which is white sugar is just processed brown sugar. So it's a less processed version of something. But again, all things in moderation and whatever it takes. If you feel like your diet isn't, along the lines of the things we've been talking about, don't try to switch over entirely. You're going to be miserable. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to be in your element because you're not going to be sure how to do it and how to make it taste right. It's, again, like with exercise, these tiny, tiny changes And then give yourself a pat on the back for it, for making any change, because whatever you do on day one is more than you did yesterday. And then you just build small moments and small measures on top of that. You walk another 10 feet, you eat one more roasted vegetable, whatever it is.
One thing at a time. I love it. All right. Thank you so much, ladies. So now I want to open up to my audience here, our group here, Anne Marie, Diane, and Donna. What is your triumphs and challenges? If you choose to share, and Rosa too. Triumphs and challenges. Go ahead.
I'll go. I actually had an amazing journey where I lost weight between 2015 and 2017. So I went from, I think it was like 238 down to 170. And that was a big deal. Oh, don't clap yet. It gets worse. And then at the end of 2018, I decided I wasn't going to eat chicken and turkey. I didn't eat pork and beef anyway. So I gave up chicken and turkey, but I still eat eggs. And I realized that in switching over, that drastically my carb and sugar intake went all the way up. And I slowly packed on the pounds over the course of the few years. So between 2018 and the beginning of 2020, I was back up to 200, like 210, 220. And then since we've been in the pandemic, I gained another 20 something pounds. So I'm like even heavier than I was before I started. And now my biggest challenge is with so much weight on me, and I'm only 5'3", it's so difficult to stand up straight. So when I go for my walks, which I love walking and water aerobics actually helped me to lose the weight when I was on my journey. And now walking is a challenge because standing up straight, my back is in excruciating pain. And I go for walks with my mom at Patterson Park, and it's fun and we enjoyed it, but now it's not enjoyable because I'm in so much pain. And so that discourages me from even wanting to do something that I really love that actually got me the results that I had before. So that is my biggest challenge. I'm like, if it's just a way I could just drop at least 20, 30 just to get me back on track where I'm not in this much pain, I know I will be okay. But whew, when I tell you, it's a huge struggle.
You have access to a pool?
Not right now.
And the other
Because
part,
if you can, I know like LA Fitness and Brick Bodies have pools, and though they're not doing
The
water aerobics,
YMCA too, right? The
and
Y.
the YMCA, though they're not doing water aerobics. Well, Brick Bodies is doing water aerobics. I think the YMCA does have water aerobics classes, but you can also do them yourself. Again, on Pinterest and YouTube, I went and since I knew they weren't doing water aerobics classes, and I was doing that too, pre-pandemic, I just looked for aqua exercises, and I started incorporating those things in. And the water is so much gentler on your joints, and that might be something that you might want to consider. But don't give up.
Yeah, I'm not giving up. I'm just trying to find a better way to get started. And I don't have a gym membership. I used to have the Y back in 2015. It's so expensive that I was actually on their scholarship program. So I was able to take advantage of that for 6 months, and that helped me out a great deal. In those 6 months, I lost like 25 pounds going. So I know it works, but in terms of like getting started, I just want to be able to walk because I enjoy walking, and not being able to do it is so frustrating right now. So yeah, I want to get back in the pool, but I'm waiting for like the city to open because they have like different classes where it's like maybe like $5 per class or something like that,
More
which is way
affordable.
more reasonable. Because I know the league, I was going to the league here in Baltimore, and theirs was like fairly reasonable to go. So I went to the league as well.
Would your and I don't know, it might be a long shot. Would your medical insurance cover something like that, like physical therapy or aqua? I mean, it's worth looking, exploring to see if they have those type of benefits. And if you have a medical doctor that can say this would help, but like physical therapy, maybe they can cover that kind of a cost.
I'll check it out. I've done physical therapy in the past before, dealing with lupus and my joints being weak and having to recover from all of that. So, and I also have hip bursitis,
Yeah.
where I had to go to physical therapy for that, and something was wrong with my knee. So I tore my knee and my hip and all on one side. So I've been to therapy, but they've never offered water. So I can ask and see what they have.
You never, what's
So
exploring?
that's a good idea because when I had surgery on my knee, I did aqua therapy, and then insurance covered it. It was
Yeah.
still therapy, so I did aqua therapy.
So I would explore that and then and advocate for it.
Yeah, I mean, I would really push Joe. That's what I was thinking of. I'm not a big water person, but I know that the one thing I remember too is being my third child, being big pregnant and taking one of my other kids to a water, like a mommy and me, whatever, water pool class. And even just the weight of pregnancy, water takes that, alleviates that pressure. And that would probably be fantastic for you to just do. And then you talk about walking, like walking hurts. I wonder if walking wouldn't hurt as much or at all in the water,
It
so
doesn't. It
yeah,
doesn't, because I remember doing it when I could barely,
that would be
like
great.
I came a long way. When I was first diagnosed with lupus, I could barely stand. My feet would hurt so bad and it would feel like fire shooting out of my toes.
Yeah.
And I remember just being able to get in the pool and I could just tread water and it didn't feel like I was walking.
So
Yeah,
I would explore that a healthcare medical benefit option with your provider and explore to see if that would be an option for you.
yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. Oh, okay. Here's a connection in the chat box for you. Look in the chat.
Good.
See?
Awesome. Hey, Wanda.
Hey.
Donna and Anne Marie and Rosa, challenges and triumphs. We have about 10 more minutes.
Okay, well, I'll make this quick. I am just lazy. I am just not motivated. I am just, ugh. Okay, I went through quite a bit. And so there's like an emotional connection to like getting moving. Okay. And there's some mental stuff that sometimes I have had to deal with that, in getting myself motivated to walk. I don't mind walking. My child took me to, we went to Cromwell Valley, and I swear to God, we did about 10,000 steps. He was like, let's go here, and I was in pain for the rest of the time. So I know I can't be doing 10,000 steps in one day.
Right.
Not
But
with going up and down the valley.
yeah. And that's kind of goes to some of the things you talked about is don't listen, you're probably having a fun day and enjoying it, which that's fantastic. But yes, there is such a thing as doing too much. And if you start out thinking that's what walking is, I wouldn't want to do it again either.
That was just a fun thing for us to do. But I know that, because I was like, we can stop. It was like, let's go here, but anyway, I just think that it's something. I don't do the cardio, even though I love dancing and I love Zumba, but I do my own moves because I can't follow coordinated steps it doesn't go with my body. So I do my own. The food is fine. The sugar, the pasta, the carbs, that's the problem. But I don't mind the veggie stuff, and I would not eat the man-made stuff, because I'm like, if I want meat that tastes like barbecue, I'm gonna eat barbecue. I'm not going to eat something that I don't know what it's made of. So I don't do that. But like when I found out about the mushroom burgers using black beans and things like that, then I'll try it. But I think that the other advice that you all gave is perfect. Having a walking buddy would be great. It's just sometimes coordinating the schedule. And but it's overall, and a big part of it that I'm learning is that I don't get enough sleep. and that affects me. And I
So-
think that we were talking about all of us not really getting enough sleep, and I know that it affects me.
Okay. Yeah. That's a issue.
Yeah, I have
You know, you're tired.
some things I'm thinking about, Emery. First of all, I'll be a walking buddy. I mean, I'm up in Connecticut, but we can talk on the phone and do whatever. I'll be a walking buddy. So we can do that, and I can walk slow, and I can show you how I surreptitiously peek in windows and check out what people planted around their mailboxes. But so that's one thing. You've got other people here who might do the same. So you could switch it up if you don't feel like talking to Kristen for a 15, 20-minute walk, it's fine. But I think as that walking buddy thing, that could be an accountability that helps with accountability. And again, it trains you to look forward to something like I get to talk to Lisa today, or I get to talk to whoever it is. The other thing is, and I forgot to mention before about nutrition, because I think we don't think about it as nutrition, but hydrate more. I mentioned at the very beginning about heart health, but hydration will help you just feel better anyway. What I would do, Emery, too, is if you like veggies, but you also like the carbs and all that, just shift the ratios a little more. Like have your carbs, don't give them up, but have a little more veggies than you used to. Even if you don't reduce the carbs, the more veggies you have, I promise you'll start eating less carbs because they take up more room in your belly and they're going to make you feel fuller.
Yeah.
That's a good advice. And you got to shift in your mind. You got to play with your mind.
Don't get rid of them because then you're going to just be mad at your vegetables. And
yep. I started doing that. I started putting more vegetables and less carbs on that. And you got to understand Caribbean people, because we come from Caribbean descent. We like our rice and peas.
Let me tell you something.
We're very heavy-handed with peas and rice. It's just culture. It's a cultural thing. But then we also know in our culture there's high diabetes and other things of that too. So we have to really get past that stuff. So I relate to that.
My grandmother, who lived to 101 and a half, was half Portuguese. And Portuguese, my mother always says, like, the most you get as a vegetable in Portuguese, true European Portuguese cooking is a potato. Like that's the vegetable and that's it. You don't have any, maybe onions, they call onions a vegetable. So that, that culture of that side of my family that I grew up with was very, it's potatoes, but it's all pork and beef and some, not very many vegetables, but it's all starches and meats basically. So I get it. But like I said, I roasted everything I could get my hands on, and you roast your veggies. I love salt. So if you like salt, go ahead and put a little more on unless you have high blood pressure. But just shift the ratios a little. Don't exclude anything because you're just going to be miserable. All of that, water, walking, healthier diet, without even trying, you will get better sleep. I'll even say I'm not a health professional. I'll guarantee you'll get better sleep.
I agree with that. Especially if you exercise right at night, that'll help. Okay. Oh yeah, Anne-Marie, look in the chat. There's a good message for you there.
Ooh, nice.
Can't hear you, Lisa.
Challenges, Donna and Rosa, challenges and triumphs, really quickly. Challenges and triumphs.
I'd say triumphs. I do a lot of walking. So before that, I didn't do anything. But a year ago, I started walking, and it, you know how you go through your trials and tribulations? Well, I was going through the major trials and tribulations. And to get out of my head, I said, let me just go walk. But I didn't have anywhere to walk except my parents' backyard. And do you know, it's pretty big, but I did 3 miles a day in my parents' backyard in a circle. And just to get my mind right. And I just kept walking, and that's how I probably lost, I'd say 10 pounds. Doesn't seem like a lot, but
Yes, it does.
but that was a big challenge for me, definitely walking. And I love what you said about, there's so many good points that both of you guys had. I kept writing it down. But I had a question for Karen. Quick question. You said you reduced the sugar. Was that white or brown? I love brown sugar. Should I reduce it anymore, or should I go to agave that you mentioned, Kristen? Should I just forget about brown sugar and use agave? What do you think?
I don't use white sugar at all unless I'm baking.
Right.
And unless I'm baking something for someone else. So if I'm baking for myself, I usually use honey. I will use brown sugar, sometimes agave, coconut sugar,
I was
raw
just,
sugar.
Coconut. Oh, okay.
Hmm.
and I know for me, I find coconut sugar at Smucker's stuff. Like you can get it at grocery stores.
They have that stuff all over now. And Aldi's is like one of my favorite go-tos.
Aldi's.
Because
We love Aldi's. Aldi's is the
Aldi's,
go-to.
and they have gotten progressively better with having, vegan healthy options. Every time I go in there, it seems like they've added something else, and it makes it just affordable. I mean, back in the day, you had to go to Whole
Whole
Foods,
Foods, and they're
and Whole Foods
expensive.
is expensive.
So is Trader Joe's. With Trader Joe's,
Trader Joe's isn't as bad.
yeah, but
Trader
Whole
Joe's isn't
Foods
as
is
bad. The
expensive.
Whole Foods is expensive. But I can come out with a couple bags of all these stuff. And
Mhm.
Whole Foods, I just have a little itty bitty bag with nothing in it.
And they have a Facebook page and a group, just so y'all know. If y'all
I'm in it. I'm
My
in
daughter
it.
is an Aldi's fan. Yes, they got a fan page. My daughter's an
Yes.
Aldi's fan. Oh my God, yes.
Yes.
People who are in the health because they're affordable. They're very affordable. Okay, good for you, Donna. Congratulations. I'm hearing good stuff. Now,
Oh, thank you.
Miss
Thank you.
Rosa, triumphs and challenges.
Definitely accountability is extremely inspiring. And also I do walk 3 miles a day. I walk 4 days a week, and then on one day I hike 3 miles, and I do a stretch class 3 days a week. And it does make me feel good, and I feel very accomplished. And on the mornings that I don't want to get up and do it, it's now become my God time. So I get out there because that's my mornings with Jesus, and I look forward to that. I have fallen in love with Real Talk Kim because I put my headsets on. I have discovered Ron Carpenter. I have found so many motivational, inspirational people I never knew about. So it's become a time that I crave. My, I need it. It helps me to become so peaceful. It's making my body strong, but what it's doing for me emotionally and mentally, I couldn't even pay a therapist for.
Wow.
And it's my mornings with Jesus. That's how I look at it. And I get to see all of his beauty, all the things that he's created. Just like you, Christian, I look at how my neighbors do things and I cheat. I come home and do what they did that I like. I'm like, why reinvent the wheel? Just copy and cheat off what they did, because I really, really love it. The only thing I wasn't pleased about is I ran into Bambi one day, and that was a setback for me. Yeah, that was a big setback for me. But I simply love my neighborhood beauty that I've discovered, and I love the relationship that I've discovered with Jesus as I'm out there walking.
Wow. Thank you for that. So we
I
talk
feel
about
very accomplished.
emotion. So not just the physical health,
Right.
we're talking about emotional health.
Yes.
Which goes back to my thing about self-care. We always go back to self-care.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see if I have any questions in the Facebook group before we wind this down. Ms. Gail, who's a mother of a good friend of mine, she said she's very, I'll let you guys read it, but she's very happy that the things that we're talking about, she's experienced herself. And so it's encouraging her, and I think everybody else on here as well, to just kind of restart their fitness journey again. We're all at different phases, but I think we all can agree at the end of this that for women, especially women of a certain age, that is for our health is the most important. So whether we all don't really seem to be at all enthusiasts about athletically inclined to do this, but we know the benefits. So that benefits outweigh everything else. So we need to do it not just for our medical health, our physical fitness, and our emotional health as well. So this is important. For those of you who need to reconnect and get accountability partners, you have a tribe here. So we may not physically do it, and we can't tell ourselves, call somebody on the phone and walk with somebody on the phone.
And then share your steps and your mileage for the day. And take a picture. Share your picture with your steps and and your trek for the day.
And I will also tell you, your cell phone has that on there already. So all of you us have that on our cell phones. It's on,
Yes.
there's an app that's already built into your phone. If you have an iPhone anyway, Androids too, you can get
Yes.
step walkers. So that's another thing to do to encourage you to
Mhm.
walk, is to use that. But find an accountability partner.
Find your friends in the app. You can find each other and
Yep.
Mhm.
even just, track yourselves
Mhm.
together.
Yes.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of things that we can do. And Diane, we're here with you. So if you need help, we're here to help get you started on that. That's why we are a group. We're here together. And so I'm all about monitoring our goals. So monitor yourself, write down every day what you do and
Mhm.
help keep yourself on track with that. Okay.
And can I have an ask? And I think it may help everyone if they're interested. Is Karen, I'd love some of your recipes, some of the things you've discussed making. If it's not like a huge family secret that you're starting to build, share some stuff. And I'll do
Yes.
that. And we can all,
Post it in a
whatever these three aspects are, like your nutrition, your physical fitness, and your mental health.
Yep.
Who knows what we can all use and share.
Exactly. And that's why I asked you guys to post your pictures. Like Karen said, I started posting mine in there because at least I'm motivated. Post yourself walking, even if you're just going down the block. Post a picture so that we can join you and celebrate you as you do that. This is a celebration. We're trying to support one another in this. I want us all to be champions in this. So there's a lot of resources. Karen told you about a group here. Well, there's a lot of walking groups. So there's things that we can do together. Ladies, I thank you. I appreciate you all so much for this. I love it. Kristen and Don, I want to share really quickly with you something that I think you'll get a kick out of when I knew, because I haven't seen these ladies in over 40 years. So y'all got to excuse me for this thing, because these ladies, if I can find it now, I can't find it, Lord, I dropped it down somewhere. These ladies and I go back to high school, and I wanted middle school, actually, elementary school, and I wanted to share. Let me see if I can share my screen.
I'm gonna pull up a picture.
I am. I'm gonna pull up a picture if I can find the picture.
Well, gotta go. Bye.
Don't worry about it. I don't have you guys in it. It's a picture that I saw going back, and I said, "Oh, let me show this picture with them. I can find it now. Hold on, just a second."
Maybe I'll have to go digging through my stuff when I hang
I
up.
know. It's just, I was like, "Oh, let me see if I can share this screen and show you this picture." Oh, there it is. I had to pick it up. There it is. So, Kristen, you remember this?
Wow.
In high school, that was the only, I was never athletic. I ran track in the 7th grade, and I quit after I fell over I won a 100-yard dash, and I fell, and I never did it again. But in high school, I loved the kick line. I loved to be kick line, like line nets. We would call it Longwood line nets, like the like the Rockettes. So it was a dance kick line that Kristen and I was on. This is the varsity, and there was a year. So this is the only thing I did. So for me, exercise is dancing. I love to dance. And so I've always loved to dance. So that's what gets me moving. So if you find whatever makes you move, whether it's walking, I'm a dancer. So once I get back to dancing, I'll be fine again. But that was my joy when I was in high school doing kick line with you guys. I thought it was such a
All right. Well, then I'm going to go find one.
So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all. Karen, thank you so much. Kristen, thank you so much. Ladies,
thank you for organizing it.
Love you.
Yes.
And please tune in, and we have another. Don't forget, April is fitness. So keep posting. Next week we have one more speaker on fitness, and she's going to share her tips and tricks. And that's it. We're focusing. So everybody, Diane, you too, post pictures, and and whatever you have, articles, recipes. Karen, you can throw your recipes up there. Please share your recipes with that as well. So I appreciate you all. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too.
Exercise. Do something for yourself. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye.
Nice meeting you, ladies.
Night.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, ladies.